why did it take till now for them to figure out that if they have a 3-day sale, that they'll probably get more people to come because people know they're not going to be trampled in line, and it'll also just be a much better shopping experience. So our goal is really just to help educate people. I look at it as a really positive thing. I look at it as an opportunity because the power of these tools, these networks here, is incredible. Hey everybody, welcome to the first ever coffee chat. I'm John Gerhardt, the founder here at FIO Media, and I'm with our intern, Mackenzie. And today we're just going to talk to you a little bit about some trending topics, some lightweight, easygoing stuff, talk a little bit about the holidays. It's the week after Thanksgiving, so we'll talk a little bit about that, go into some Black Friday madness, and then we'll see where it takes that from there. We also have a caller calling in today, a good friend of mine, Ethan Foles, who is a grad student at Rutgers and works for the NBA, National Basketball Association, for you non-sports fans out there. So we'll talk a little bit with Ethan. He'll chime in on some of our topics, and we'll just kind of hang out.
Nice.
We're here. Obviously, it's the holidays, so we have our holiday theme today. Have a nice fireside chat going. So we hope you enjoy our conversation today.
Definitely.
So, how was your Thanksgiving, Mackenzie?
It was good. It's always nice, getting a little break and being able to spend time with family and friends. But since I'm in college now, I just am right back in the swing of finals now.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's that time of year, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just keep on grinding, quite honestly.
Did you do any Black Friday shopping?
I did actually.
How was that experience?
It wasn't as crazy as I thought it would be. I was expecting to get trampled,
Right.
lines would be an hour long, but the mall I went to was pretty much fine.
Really?
But a lot of things happened that weekend and not necessarily the night of Black Friday. So
Yeah.
I think in recent years they've kind of been changing it a little bit so that it's less madness all on midnight of Black Friday.
So I don't know why it took this long to figure out, because
Someone probly died.
Well, right, we were talking about that before, right? A lot of times it takes for somebody to get seriously hurt or injured for them to make a change. But I'm not really sure how long Black Friday's been a thing. I just know it's been a thing as long as I can remember. So I'm assuming it's been a very long time. Maybe we could fact check that.
Yeah.
But why did it take till now for them to figure out that if they have a 3-day sale, that they'll probably get more people to come because people know they're not going to be trampled in line, and it'll also just be a much better shopping experience. I wonder why.
I feel a lot of times people don't really listen to the logic, or not people but businesses. I think they would much rather enjoy the hype of everyone needs their product this one day. But obviously that's not the best business-minded route to take.
Right. So I guess it just goes back to something we talk about all the time, just listening to your customers and reacting to their behavior, changes in behavior, because obviously this has to do also with all of the online sales, right? So I guess maybe this might be one of the reasons why this enormous rise in online Cyber Monday sales and even Black Friday sales. It used to just be Cyber Monday. Now it's the Thursday before or Thanksgiving and the Wednesday before online sales start, and they go for almost a whole week. So most people just want to stay home. So to convince them to come to stores, they have to be entering into an experience that's a little less crazy.
That actually reminded me of an article that I read over the weekend saying how this year's Black Friday turnout was the lowest it has been in history. And I think that just speaks to what you were saying, how Cyber Monday is so much more relevant and is what consumers are looking for nowadays. They are turning away from the brick and mortar storefront experience.
Yeah.
So how do you capture their attention and get their business if they don't want to go in stores for it?
Yeah, I guess you just have to do the online
You have
thing,
to adapt to the times or you'll fall behind.
Yeah.
But that's why it's so important to know how to capture your audience online and use marketing to your advantage, because you have to listen to what the people want, and if that's what is showing up, then you should adjust your business.
Yeah, agreed. So we were talking about that the pay less, what was it called, pay lessy thing?
Yes.
This is kind of a similar
very similar
situation, but
the same idea how like people will buy some people I guess are uneducated consumers. And I feel like the backstory is that Payless opened up this fake storefront called Paylessy in LA, and they ended up not trapping, but getting a lot of like LA influencers and bloggers to come out and spend $600 on a shoe that is actually $19.99 from Payless.
That's hilarious.
And the video is like, they thought it was the best quality. They would pay upwards of $800 for this. And then when they found out it was actually Payless, their jaws dropped. But that's exactly speaking to how, like, the way you market yourself is your value. So if you determine that you want to be high class, then you set that for yourself.
Right. So, I mean, that's like another example is you've seen brands in the past. I'm trying to think of one specifically. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there's been brands out there that have actually, been failing, not doing well. They actually raise their prices, start to rebrand themselves as a more luxury, high-end brand, and their business takes off. And it's just all about the way that you brand yourself, brand your company, and people expect that if you charge a lot of money, that you're getting a high-quality product.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's the market, especially in LA, for people to pay for that.
Absolutely.
So it's pretty interesting.
And that is actually pretty true because last year Payless filed bankruptcy. And this year they did this.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So good for them. Honestly, it's a very smart initiative.
I mean, it's more of a media stunt, right?
Absolutely.
Because they gave all the money back.
Yeah,
right?
And I think they gave the money back. They're going to be using the content they captured for ads and for social media. So it's definitely going to create a buzz.
Yeah,
online.
because I mean, people think their shoes are that high end. I mean, then they
now
should.
you're like, that's a good
I'll
shoe.
pay $20 if someone is willing to pay $600.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Interesting. Interesting. All right, so we got our holiday season coming up now. What does your holiday scene look like in your house?
It's fun. My mom goes out every year. She just invites everyone she's ever met over our house for Christmas Eve. We do games. We do raffles.
Really?
It's actually very intense. Yeah.
Sounds fun.
It's very fun.
How many people do you have?
Probably about 30, 40 people.
Okay.
Just friends, family.
Okay.
People come in, people come out. So it's a nice time. How about you?
Nice. Yeah, so I do, we've done pretty much my whole past, we've done Thanksgiving Eve on my mom's side of the family. That's smaller. That's the Italian side of the family, so we'll do the 7-fish dinner. That's really fun. And, my grandparents kind of have hosted that for a long time now. I'm not sure what we'll do this year. Probably going to change things up. But that's a great tradition. And then Christmas Day, we normally have at my house, just have the family over. It's, a lot of people have, it sounds like you have a pretty, fun, entertaining, holiday experience.
I got a crazy family, so they make anything entertaining.
Right. Mine, I mean, most people would probably say mine's pretty, boring and relaxed, but that's kind of the way I like
that's what
it.
You want.
Yeah, it's kind of nice, and it's just it's a good time to just get away and relax. Everyone asks how my Thanksgiving was. I'm just it was nice.
Yeah.
It was relaxing, a good time spent with the family, and the older I get, start to cherish those moments more and more because you never know how much longer all the relatives will be around and everything. So.
Do you have any fun Thanksgiving or Christmas traditions that you do?
We have a funny Christmas tradition. It's actually a German tradition. I don't know if there's
the pickle in the tree?
Yeah.
I do that too.
You do that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Yeah, so I've done that for a long time. My grandpa hides the pickle, and he gives a nice prize to whoever finds it.
Do you use a real pickle? Or
no, he has a pickle ornament.
Yeah, so do we.
Yeah, it's funny. But it's pretty hard to find that little pickle in the tree.
In the green tree, it's very difficult.
Yeah. So it's always, there's been some funny instances where miraculously, this insane thing happens where my little sister and my little cousin happen to spot the pickle at the exact same instant.
Oh my god.
It's crazy.
Sounds like drama.
Yeah, so I don't know how that happened. Probably some kind of mutual agreement made before that they were going to split the prize 50-50.
What's the prize?
It's different every year. My grandpa's pretty generous. He's given away some $100 bills. He's given away some... He had this silver bar one year that he gave away, which is
God.
Worth a lot.
My family just has a $10 Wawa gift card. I would come to your house.
Yeah, no, it's you want to find that pickle.
Yeah.
You get a nice prize. So that's what I was saying. There's been some mischievous activity that has gone on, because if you find that pickle, you get a big prize. So people are teaming up and
in cahoots.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for exactly. So that's a funny one.
That is a good tradition.
Yeah. So what do you kind of think we should expect this holiday season as we move as consumers, right? I mean, we've seen this pretty drastically different Black Friday experience that we've seen in the past. I wonder what that's going to bring the upcoming holiday season as well.
Very true. I feel like at least a lot of people that I like, more millennials and Gen Zers, are just so much more hesitant these days to kind of get Christmas gifts and to kind of go shopping. Like, I just feel like the holiday, at least for me, has become so commercialized. It's kind of like sometimes it can be stressful thinking about how many people you have to get gifts for. Well, you can't forget this person, and it's just like unrealistic expectations. And like at the end of the day, sometimes it's just leaves you stressed, where a time you shouldn't be stressed. You should just be relaxing and enjoying the company of others.
Yeah, so, I agree. Do you like shopping for Christmas gifts, or?
I like when I find the perfect gift for someone that I've been thinking about, but it's tough, and it's like, how many perfect gifts do you need to find?
All right, so we're actually getting a call from my friend Ethan now. We'll take that and let's see what he has to say. Hey Ethan, how's it going? I'm here with Mackenzie. You're on Coffee Chat. What's going on?
Hey John, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So Mackenzie and I were just kind of talking a little bit about, we talked a little bit about Black Friday. We talked a little bit about some holiday shopping. So, we're talking about how, maybe millennials and people younger now are getting pretty stressed out with the shopping experience. If you haven't gone Black Friday shopping and gotten all of your gifts out of the way, which I'd say most people haven't, where does that leave you at this point? You want to chime in on that?
Well, first off, I would like to say that I'm proud to have purchased all of my gifts, surprisingly.
Wow.
It's probably the first year I've done this, and
feels good.
I'm pretty proud of myself, not gonna lie. So, what I've seen, and the way I kind of done it is, I used my phone, my mobile device, to look up everything I wanted, all the deals, and kind of just get an idea in my head of what I wanted. I probably had 20 tabs open on my phone, so like 20 different pages.
Really?
And each page was a different site or had prospecting gifts. So I used that kind of as a tool to find gifts, and then made the purchases on desktop. And when I looked into how trends went this holiday season, or this Black Friday period, it looks like a lot of people did the same thing. So
really?
Looking at the numbers, mobile devices were accounted for about like 3/4 of digital traffic on Black Friday and this weekend.
Really?
But then when you look at the numbers from conversion rates, it looked like desktop was much higher than mobile devices. So I guess it's more of the same analogy with going in person in stores. I mean, a lot of people are still buying in stores, but malls today are almost like a showroom where you go, you try the clothes on. You might not buy on the day of, and you get ideas of what you want or what to get for people when you go to the stores, but you might not buy that day. You might go home and then further think about what you want, look for similar deals, different stores, different outlets, and go from there. So I think it's interesting to see where the trends are going, especially Black Friday, especially this year.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I kind of do this. I do the similar thing all the time. I like to shop around. I like to understand what's out there in the market. And a lot of times when you're looking on your phone screen, I just got a new phone, so I have a bigger screen now, but it's too small, and I don't know, I just feel like I'm constrained and I can't really get a full view of the product, even though like mobile websites nowadays are most of the time pretty good. Yeah, you're right. You kind of always do like want to go to at least your laptop or desktop to go see a full view before you make a purchase.
Right.
Yeah. Would you say the same thing, Kenzie?
I would definitely say that, and I feel like now platforms are kind of updating to cater to that need. Like now you can be shopping on Instagram and be looking at a brand's page, and you can be shopping without even leaving the app. So I feel like that's just the trend, and that's the way that shopping is kind of going to evolve in the future.
Yeah, so Ethan, when you were saying you have those 20 tabs open, I'm interested to know, did you find any of those products right on Instagram, Facebook? Like, were you shopping on social at all, or were you just on e-commerce sites?
I was big Amazon shopper.
Okay.
Not much social, although when I did search for certain products, I would see them on my social immediately after.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see also that social was a huge driver in sales this year.
Yeah.
More than ever.
Yeah, I
found that pretty interesting as well.
Yeah. I know a couple people, and I know there's not a lot now, but I believe that this number is going to start rising in the coming years as these companies are getting smarter with their ads and getting more advanced with their, retargeting capabilities. I believe that, these people I know, they only shop now on Instagram, Facebook, because they know that they're going to you get a good deal most of the time. And they're putting the product you want right in front of your face. Like you said, you search something, instantly.
It's an ad.
There's an ad for whatever you searched.
Right. I think undoubtedly it's growing. I saw a number that Instagram year-over-year growth in the use to find sales. So people last year looking at Instagram to find sales to this year using Instagram to find sales, 73% growth.
Wow.
So it's growing fast, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Whether or not everyone feels like they're doing it, I don't think it's to that point yet, but the fact that it's growing that much shows you that they're putting a lot more resources into trying to drive point of sale on their app.
Yeah.
And I think Pinterest saw huge growth as well, because that's another one of those photo apps where people pin all their favorite things, and it's just a very easy way to find what they want to buy there.
That's what I was going to say, is that Instagram and Pinterest are both like visually dominated.
Right.
So like a social platform like Twitter or Facebook, which is a lot more text-based, isn't seeing that same traffic. Because people can literally see the clothes in like this photo and compare it in their own lives.
And they're seeing it in a place where they're
comfortable and
and they're used to seeing similar types of content. Exactly. So that's I think one of the things when you are running a Facebook ad, you're doing like an automatic placement. Facebook will place your ad in places where people are most likely to interact in the way you want them to. So if you run a conversion ad, they're going to put it somewhere where people are more likely to convert. And obviously Facebook owns Instagram, so this includes that if you're running an ad that's like, clothing, they're probably going to run that on Instagram because they know that people are likely to purchase clothing.
And I think also to that point, although a lot more people are looking at social to find these products, I think that it's getting harder to convert on that too as well, because you have so many options and so many different companies starting to catch on and selling on Instagram. Where a year ago or 2 years ago, if people are clicking on that ad, they're going to convert. If they're getting referred from Instagram and they're clicking on that, they're probably in the space to buy at that point.
Yeah, it's getting more competitive now.
Right. Yeah. So you got to differentiate, I guess, your product on these channels, so people are more likely to convert, because you don't want to become part of the noise. Yeah. So another concern of mine is like there's so many of these out there now, and a lot of them you just haven't heard of. You don't really recognize the company name, so I actually have a hard time trusting these companies. Are they going to deliver my stuff on time? Is it going to be a decent quality product? Am I going to buy a shoe that's going to break in like a week or so? So that's probably my main concern. When you see an ad from a large company, you trust that source, obviously, right? Exactly. But when you're getting targeted from somebody you never heard of, it's great that those people have the opportunity now with Facebook and Instagram to run those ads and reach me as a consumer. But I'm definitely having a hard time trusting those sources.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a very good point.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of the ads you see on the social are coming from these smaller companies that are still trying to make a name for themselves. They're more nimble. They don't have the dollars to put into traditional advertising.
Yeah.
So I think that's the ones you're seeing more often on social, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the big companies should be doing it too, and they can even more to share.
Yeah, I agree. Right. Well, one thing me and Ethan we talk about all the time is how there's still so many companies spending a lot of dollars on TV, and they're just not getting the reach that these smaller companies are getting. And companies like Movement Watches have been able to make like enormous leaps and bounds over, to catch up in terms of market share with, the watch companies that have been around forever, like the Rolexes, because of how much they're spending online. What do you think about that, Ethan?
I mean, I'm looking at companies like Wish.com who don't do any. I don't see any
TV.
Traditional advertising out of them. I've seen they're around in the sports space a little bit. I think they have something with the Lakers.
Okay.
The jersey patch, and then they also. I remember for the first time ever, I saw them actually on the scale of the Floyd Mayweather-McGregor fight. So when they weighed in, the scale had Wish.com out, and that's the first time I ever heard of them. I remember looking it up that day, see what is this company that has their logo on the scale. But I haven't seen them anywhere else. I see them all over Instagram now. I think every time I open the Instagram feed, I see Wish.com, and they have that low price point, just right in your face. Who knows? I've never purchased from there. I don't know if you guys have, but I don't know how they get the price point that low. But they're really out there on social.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting to see them breaking into that sports space. I actually recently saw an article that those NBA logo patches have actually been pretty successful overall, which is interesting with social media nowadays being everyone's saying, though, this is your best source of marketing, which I would still agree it is, but it's interesting to see sports patches be a almost rising industry in a market where it seems like that kind of marketing is on the decline.
Yeah, and I think if you think about it this way, I think when you put your logo on a patch, especially in the NBA, you can say that you are advertising on social because you see more NBA content on social media than any other sports league and maybe anything else in entertainment, because NBA just is a huge driver of social content on especially Twitter. Definitely has a lot of Instagram pages dedicated just to NBA content that aren't even official NBA pages. So I think that move of putting your brand on an NBA logo, also I think you have a lot of digital and social strategy in mind when you do that. Yeah. So I think it's definitely interesting. It definitely ties into all the social, digital kind of marketing that we're familiar with.
Yeah. Yeah, E, so I think you have a really interesting perspective there, and obviously you're speaking from a great position, having worked with the NBA. You know a little bit about what they're doing in the digital media space. You want to talk a little bit about how they're kind of leveraging that space now? I really like the idea of turning something that isn't traditionally social into a very social opportunity. What is the NBA doing now to kind of really take advantage of that?
Right, so I think one thing that the NBA realizes that a lot of the attention is focused on social during a game. Mm-hmm. You have maybe 10 million people tuning into a game, but then you have another, 10, 20 million people in the conversation on Twitter, on Instagram. So there has to be a strategy around monetizing those eyeballs as well. Mm-hmm. And I think there's teams at the NBA that are really looking into how to best do this in a way that's not disruptive and that can continue just sharing the game with the world, because the NBA is such an international game. Yeah. It's so easy to hop on an app from anywhere in the world and have the NBA and NBA content right in front of you. So I think that's something that people at the NBA really are trying to achieve and keep in mind when making decisions. That being said, I think as we move forward, you're going to see a lot more focus on content being pushed to these social channels, YouTube included, that kind of share the game. Because if you're an NBA fan, you can probably hop onto YouTube within, maybe an hour after a game or less, and just find tons of content for the game that just happened.
Right.
As well as going to the traditional digital channels, which I think people are less likely to do, especially moving forward. I think people are more comfortable looking on social. I think Facebook presents a great opportunity for this as well,
right,
as teams already have their official pages there. So I think we could look to see more going on those channels.
Yeah. So a couple of things on that. One is, not just Twitter, but what I get a lot of my NBA updates now. I'm not the biggest NBA fan, but I do still keep track of what's going on in the league, and pretty much I get 90% of my updates from Instagram, basketball accounts or sports accounts that kind of just post the highlights from the games, post, when there's a fight in the league, or if there's some kind of controversy, they have it, and then they have opinions on it, and then people are talking about it in the comments. It's a really good way to get the news, get the highlights. It's interesting to see how Sports Center kind of isn't really a thing anymore. They've almost, they've gotten rid of the traditional Sports Center show. They have that Get Up show now in the morning. Because I think part of that is because they realize all these people are going to Instagram and social for their highlights and updates, and they needed to adopt a format where they're adding more value than just showing the highlights. They're actually now providing a lot more commentary on what has gone on. So it's interesting to see that changing at such a very high level. Something that Sports Center's been around forever, since we were very young.
Right, and the NBA just lends itself to the opportunity to do this. I'm sure you've heard this before, where the players are just, you can see their faces, they're not in helmets, they're not ready, right? So they're not in hats. So you can create these storylines and build these personal connections with specific players, and the NBA just lends itself to creating more stars, and I think we're taking advantage of that in the best way possible, especially on social.
Yeah.
So I think it's in a good position right now. I think there's probably going to be a point where you got to really figure out how to monetize all this chatter on social. But I think there's also, you got to balance out how well the game is being spread. And I think it's undoubtedly, even if it's not being monetized, if there's constant chatter and just awareness about the league throughout the world, you can't say that's a bad thing, even if there's no direct revenue coming in from those conversations and that content.
Right.
It's just going to drive more awareness about the league and excitement.
Right. Well, attention is a major asset nowadays. If you can captivate somebody's attention, there's pretty much always the opportunity, whether in the long or short run, to kind of monetize that attention. So I'm sure that the NBA, being the successful organization that it is, will find a way to take advantage of this, and I'm sure a lot of other people will find a way to take advantage of it as well. But it's an interesting opportunity, and I think it's going to be a huge opportunity for growth, not just for the NBA, but for the sports industry in general, and then I think just the economy in general, because the amount of opportunity that can be created from those types of things, with all these new streaming sites happening now, right? I know you've worked with some of the streams, Ethan, and I know not just the NBA, but lots of sports organizations now are providing tons of different ways for their fans to watch. So not only can you watch different highlights and different documentaries and stories and all over social media, but you can also just watch the game itself through different streaming apps, different streaming services. There's just so much opportunity now, and so many different eyes in so many different places. I think it's only a matter of time before this industry really takes off, and when it does, I think it's going to add major value to the economy in general and the sports industry in general.
Right. And digital media and live streaming, I don't think it's replaced traditional television yet.
Not yet.
I think it has the potential to start moving, and I think what's going to happen eventually is you're going to have something like a Roku or an Apple TV, and you're just going to pay for whatever apps you want to download. If you want to download the HBO app and have unlimited HBO, you get that. And there's no point in the traditional cable. And I think that's where we're kind of headed. For now, I don't think there's anything that's going to happen because these cable companies just have so much leverage over all this, so they don't want it to go away anytime soon until they figure that out. But yeah, I think any business can learn from the way sports monetize their social content. It's all, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, it's all about storytelling, right?
Yeah.
So the NBA does a great job where every matchup last night was, for example, last night was the Toronto Raptors versus Golden State Warriors. It was a great game, and I think leading up to that matchup, it's a story. It's is this going to be the finals preview? Is this, can the Warriors beat the Raptors without some of their best players? There's just stories coming up to this. There's Drake on the sideline, right?
Yeah.
Banter with Kevin Durant on the Warriors the whole game. They're all stories, and it's just human interest stories too that create a lot of buzz around it and excitement. And I think any brand can learn how to capture this and use that to their advantage. So it's pretty cool to use sports as an analogy to this, but it's definitely something to look for because NBA and sports have seen great success on social.
Yeah. Anything, Mackenzie? Or?
I am not as knowledgeable about this.
Yeah.
But
you're not the biggest sports fan, or?
No, but I think everything else is very true and really applies to just the way the world is moving, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. All right, I think we'll wrap it up on that. Ethan, thanks a lot for your time. Really appreciate it. I think you gave some really, really good insight into just sports and digital media and the direction that's moving in general. And, I look forward to, continuing to watch this happen with you and to future conversations about it.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Thanks, Mackenzie. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem.
Good luck with the rest of the show. Have a great day.
Appreciate it. Thanks, E. We'll talk to you soon.
That was a coffee chat for the books.
Yeah, so with that, I think we'll wrap it up. I'd like to thank everyone who tuned in and watched today. If you have any comments, you wanted to maybe give your opinion about what we talked about here today, please feel free to do so in the comments or send us a message somewhere on social media, send us an email. On that, we'll sign it off. All right, thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.
Perfect.